Most people think royal palaces are some of the safest places in the world, protected by guards, surrounded by history, and filled with people at all times. But according to former workers and palace staff, some areas inside these buildings become very different after midnight. Tonight's video covers 3 disturbing incidents connected to the British royal family, stories involving unexplained figures, strange voices, and events that still make people uncomfortable to talk about. And the last incident is considered one of the creepiest. One night, a palace guard was doing his usual patrol through a long hallway inside the palace. Everything seemed normal until he noticed someone standing at the far end of the corridor. Tall, completely still. At first, he assumed it was another guard, but something felt wrong. The figure hadn't moved once, not even slightly. The guard slowly walked closer, and the closer he got, the colder the hallway became. Then, the figure slowly turned toward him. Its face looked pale, almost unnatural. The guard stopped immediately, and that's when the lights flickered. For 1 second, the hallway went completely dark. When the lights returned, the figure was gone. But the strange part wasn't the disappearance. It was the sound that came next. Footsteps, slow footsteps, walking behind him. Even though the hallway was empty, the guard reportedly left the area immediately and refused to patrol that section alone. Again, but that wasn't the strangest incident inside the palace, because another worker experienced something far more disturbing inside a room that was supposed to be empty. Late one evening, a palace employee was walking past one of the unused rooms inside the building, and suddenly, he heard voices coming from inside, quiet whispering, like 2 people having a conversation. At first, he ignored it, but after a few seconds, the voices became clearer. The employee stopped walking because he remembered something important. That room had been locked for years. No staff used it. No furniture remained inside. Nothing. Still, the whispering continued. He slowly walked toward the door and pressed his ear against it. Silence. Then, a loud sound came from inside, like a chair scraping across the floor. The employee quickly unlocked the door and stepped inside. The room was empty, cold, completely silent. But near the corner of the room, a wooden chair was slowly moving, as if someone had just stood up. The employee immediately backed away and locked the room again. And according to reports, he refused to talk about the incident afterward. But the final incident is the one that disturbed palace staff the most, because this time, someone claimed the figure was seen near one of the royal bedrooms. Around 3 a.m., a palace employee noticed a dark figure standing near one of the royal hallways. At first, they assumed it was security, but something felt wrong immediately. The figure was too tall, too thin, and completely motionless. The employee called out, "Who's there?" No answer. Then, the shadow slowly moved across the wall, without making a sound, almost like it was gliding instead of walking. The employee stepped backward, and suddenly, the hallway lights flickered. For a brief second, the figure disappeared completely. Security arrived moments later, but the hallway was empty. No sign of anyone. However, staff later reported something unusual. The temperature near that section of the hallway stayed freezing cold for the rest of the night. And after that incident, several workers reportedly avoided that area completely after dark. Whether these incidents were paranormal or simply stories passed around inside the palace, no one knows for sure. But one thing is certain: some places hold history for so long that eventually, the past stops feeling dead. And maybe, some parts of the palace were never truly empty to begin with. Sleep carefully tonight,